Hey guys, welcome to an all new episode of Sense for the Soul. My name is Jasmine. I am super excited to be here, talking to you guys and just having another episode, having time to just record something new, give new perspective. Before we get started, please make sure that you like, subscribe, share, tell someone what you're listening to, and be sure to just leave a comment for us. Tell us what you think, okay? Full disclaimer first, if you notice, I will be during this video looking down. That is because I'm looking down at my computer to see our guests face to face. So if you see me looking down, that's why. All right, let's get started. First, as you can see, I have someone with me. This is my sister. I am super excited that she has decided to join me today. A little bit of history. This girl is super smart. She has a bachelor's in psychology and sociology. She is currently getting her master's right now, her MBA. She is a wife, a mother, military wife. She has children. She is just working. She's worked in the nonprofit sector for how long?
Forever, basically.
Forever, yeah. So she's been in the nonprofit sector, and I think that this would be a good episode for her to join us on and just give her perspective. Like, she's smart, y'all. So y'all listen. Okay, so I'll give her a second to say what she would like to say, give you a second to introduce yourself, and we'll get started.
Hi, everybody. I'm so honored to be here. My sister, she is rocking it out, and I just had to come and pop in and chop it up with her. So thank you so much for having me. And I'm ready to dive in and get started.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into this thing. Okay, so the topic for today that we'll be talking about is collaboration versus competition. First off, like I say in all my videos, of course, we need to understand why this is important for us to talk about. For me personally, I feel like in society these days, everyone is almost kind of like, what is it, the crab bucket, where everybody's trying to step on everybody to get to the top. And we need to do a better job of understanding that if we just collaborate, then we would be able to get further in life for whatever goal we have that we're trying to accomplish. So I'm going to start this off asking you a question. First off, why is it that, I guess, as a society or culture, why are we so fixated and focused on competition right now?
I think the core of it comes down to exposure, right? So you see more, and so therefore you have more to emulate, to copy, to envy. Social media, everything happens within a few seconds. If you notice, every clip is better be your best clip, right? And so as we're seeing these highlight reels that are happening in people's lives, of course, it's going to stir something in you like, well, maybe I'm not doing enough, or maybe I need to get my level up so that I'm on par with this person's excellence and editing and photoshopping and all of that. When the truth is, we're only posting the positives, right?
Right.
And then,
yep.
On the other side of that, there also are people that are posting their absolute worst, the balance of what is appropriate, the balance of what should be shared and what should not be shared is very skewed right now. And so I think that's kind of, for me, my personal opinion, is one of the biggest factors is more exposure.
No, I 100% agree. I feel like you were saying on social media, I think that it has become everybody is basically walking advertisement. Like, they are just living, breathing, advertising, whatever it is. Like, it's always, you can't take a picture without adding, oh, I'm wearing Coach, or I'm wearing these type of shoes, I'm wearing this type of shirt, and things like that. And a lot of times people base your worth off of the things that you have, off of the accomplishments that you've done. And it's unfortunate because there are people, like you said, that don't necessarily have those things. And little do they know that the people that are posting these things that seem like they're all up here, they're probably like broke and just a joke. You know what I mean? And it's unfortunate.
I think the introduction of filters has been a huge impact on this, because there's no authenticity. And when you see someone without filters, you see someone without the proper angles or the glam or the lightning or all of these things. It's great for photography. It's great for, doing touch-ups. But the truth of the matter is, it's very rare that you see people post pictures that have not been edited.
Okay. Yep.
And so if you are not comfortable in yourself and in what your personal image is, or whatever's going on with you, we all have self, insecurities. That perpetuates that, because you want to be the best. You want to only show your best. And we're also not necessarily a very in-person type of culture anymore. We're texting, we're sexting, we are Instagramming, Facebooking, we're all of these different things. But in face-to-face interaction, meeting people in their eyes, seeing people in person, I mean, there's an app for anything, right? And so I believe that technology has really played a big role in it. It has saved people because it has monetized this industry, but it's also destroyed people because you always have to hit that high. And so I think there's a big distinction in that.
No, I 100% agree. It's changed the standard on life. Like, it's changed the end goal on life. Like you were saying with the filters, I 100% agree. You become dependent to it. You become, it is now, that is the bar, opposed to being authentic, being yourself, showing, hey, it is what it is. This is what I have. I need help. That's out. It's when I show up, I have to deliver this. There is no room for error. And if there is error, then you always have to worry about society saying something to you. You know what I mean? It's that's a whole nother conversation. But yes, so I think that definitely puts a strain on being able to collaborate with people, because the initial thought is you're automatically going into it as a comparison. When you think that, hey, you know what? For example, the podcast, if I decided to say, hey, maybe I should collaborate with another podcast to, we have good talk or whatever. It's unfortunate because the first thing that comes to your mind is, man, what about their views? They're better than me. They're this, they're that. You start having the comparison, which would deter you from wanting to collaborate with them. So, yeah.
I also think too, it also stems to a lot of insecurities. I believe we're seeing a boom in a lot of mental health illnesses and issues, anxiety, depression, and all of that stems from, image, self. It's a very self-centric society. I mean, hey, I'm a part of that self-centric society. Right. If I have a picture where I'm in a bad angle and I'm like, oh, my stomach's looking a little flabby, instantly I can take it down. It's just the pressure of wanting to put your best foot forward. Right. And so you're trying to build authentic relationships. Relationships are messy. You are not going to see eye to eye all the time. You are not going to agree all the time. And the fact of the matter is, there's always going to be someone that's better than you. Not saying that they have more than you, not saying that you are not important or you're not talented, but there are levels to this. As rich as I am, there's always someone richer. As pretty as I am, there's always someone prettier. Right. And so just kind of keeping that in context and managing, your emotions and how you feel about certain things and how you navigate in the world, and having that self-assurance that I may not be this, or this, but I'm this, or I'm this, and owning that. I think that's really important. And I don't think we're doing a great job of that in society.
So with that being said, how is it that you think this now translates into a level of competition? Where does that line come in from, man, I'm feeling, so low, maybe, I shouldn't do, the inferior, type thing. How does that now go from that to now competition, to where I can't work with you because I got to compete and get better than you?
Let me tell you, especially in America, we are no longer that hunter-gatherer type of mentality, right? When we were in hunter-gatherer civilizations, you had to work together, right? You had to collaborate, or y'all were going to starve. Somebody had to be on your team. It was not a solo thing, and that's how villages and towns and communities. And as these things start getting bigger and resources started getting smaller, the competition to acquire those resources became more intense. Land grabs, power grabs, people migrating here, there, and everywhere, and finding that someone already lives there, but they want that. And so conquest happens. And so I think that, competition is at the core of all of us. It's just built into our DNA. And it's no different in social media or the digital world, right? everybody's trying to be number one. Everybody's trying to get all the followers. Everybody wants the clicks and the likes and the subscribes. Why? Because the incentive is it's monetized.
Mm-hmm.
You become famous. You have this sense of belonging or wanting that is very addicting because you feel like you belong, you're part of. And when you're not a part of that, you feel other. And
Right.
other something that is very damaging to a lot of people because other is very lonely. Other is very open. You're exposed to just look and examine at yourself. And other has become something that's a negative thing. I don't think it's necessarily a negative thing. It's a hard thing to do. But that's what it is. And that's how we translate from, it's not just comparison. Now we're competing because we all want to be the number one person on Instagram. We want to be the number one person on Facebook. We want to be the number one in this, and this. Even if you're not number one, we want to be top 10, right? That means everybody else got to get bumped out of the way. So what can I do to take that spot? I'm going to compete.
And I think that that's good. And you know, it's often it's sad, but I've noticed that people, with you saying always trying to get to that competitive edge, I've seen where people have used collaboration in it's really competition, but they're masking it as collaboration. So I'm going to work with this person. I'm going to get what I need from them. I'm going to use them to gain the followers to achieve what I need to achieve. But in the back of my mind, it's still competition. It's still who's going to get to the top. It's still, you know what I mean? And it's sad because it's almost kind of like if you don't eat or be eaten. That's really what it comes down to. And you can come and try and come in pure hearted. You can try and do it in which you say, hey, I really want to see you win, sis. I really want to, do this and do that. But at the core of it all, I've seen where it has started off as collaboration. But like you said, in here in your core, it's like, I'm still trying to further myself. So I want to switch to this and ask you this. For you personally, being that you are behavioral, you do study behaviors, things like that, the human side of people cognitively, when did you learn that true collaboration was more beneficial than the competition?
Well, I think honestly, they kind of work. So I don't think it's one thing, right? I don't like to speak or think in extremes.
Right.
Collaboration and competition, they're kind of on the same spectrum, right? But there are levels to that. So in order to collaborate with someone, you have to be willing to not necessarily sacrifice self, but you have to compromise. Another con word, right? You have to compromise. And so when you collaborate with someone, you have to take in someone else's insight, someone else's thoughts, someone else's stuff, right? Whereas competition, yes, you're considering all of the things that they have, but you want to be more than that. You want to be better than that. You want to evolve around that. And so I kind of think for me, it took me realizing that I was a selfish person to the differences in my life, right? So a good humbling experience is there was somebody that I wanted to collaborate with on a project, and this person had different ideas than I did. Not that their ideas were bad, they were just different. And their strategy, I felt, would have put them at a higher level or a higher momentum than what my idea would have. And so, of course, me and my self-esteem issues and insecurities were triggered like, oh, well, I want myself to be better. Not that when they win, because this is my collaboration, we all win, right? And so I think that when I had to step back and was like, why am I fighting my own progress? That's when I realized about the differences between collaboration and competition and how they sometimes should work together. And sometimes they can be complete opposites of one another. Eventually, we reconcile that. I reconcile that, but it was a learning experience for me.
Yeah. And I think that you hit it on the nail on the head. It starts internally. It starts with understanding that, hey, I might be a little prideful. I might think more of myself than I might, always consider that my ideas are the best ideas. I know personally for me, I'm a very pushy person. I don't like to hear outside opinion, even though it might be better. You know, it's like, no, 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 I got it. You know what I mean? And you first have to understand that the person that you're talking to have had different experiences. They've gone through different things. They've learned different things, and they could possibly be trying to tell you something in a collaborative way and say, hey, well, listen, well, I don't think we should approach the project this way. We should approach it this way. And you
Right.
taking the posture of, oh, I think they know it all, but not knowing that they've already done what you're suggesting and they
Right.
failed. And so now they're trying to do it a second time with you in mind, in a, you know, in a more progressive manner. And so I think that we need to be mindful that we don't know it all, that
Right.
we don't have it all. We don't, like you said, someone will always be smarter. They'll always be better. And that doesn't dull you or dim your light. It just says that, hey, they're bringing something to the table that I'm not familiar with. You know, if you think that this is something that's going to be better for us, then okay, let's do that, you know. And it
I
doesn't
mean,
make you a lapdog or anything, but yeah.
it leads into another C word, courage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Courage, cooperation, collaboration, competition, all of these C words, they all
Hand in hand.
they all belong in this thing, right? It takes courage to be vulnerable. It takes courage to relinquish control. It takes courage to balance things, right? And it's something that I know for me, it was a challenge for me to do that because I knew I was right, right?
Yeah.
In my brain, I was right, and there was nothing you could tell me that was otherwise. However, they're also right, just from a different lived experience, right? And so I think, especially in this society and in the world and where we are right now, because we're so me-centric, we lose the thought that
Passion.
someone else could be compassion, someone else could be right just like you're right. Where it's not an absolute no or an absolute yes. It's not an absolute either I'm right and you're wrong and that's it. We can have different lived experiences and all be correct.
Yeah.
Right? Now, how we approach the strategy or the business or the relationship or whatever it is that we go into, that's up to us to compromise to figure out how we can then collaborate instead of compete. There's also a place where competition is good, right? That's how we survive. You got to compete against that lion that's out there trying to eat that gazelle. Yeah. Otherwise, the lion's going to eat and you're not.
Yeah.
There is room for competition, but there's also space for collaboration, encouraging all the C words that we talk about.
And you know what, it comes with growth, and that's why I think it's important that we do talk about this. With us being in our late 20s, 30s, early 30s, you can't live life in the I'm gonna elbow you, you know what I'm saying? You can't live life like that. You have to understand that there are people who can help you in the best way possible, who can elevate you in the best way possible. I used to didn't like to have, like, I didn't, and this was something, guys, viewers, that I actually learned from my sister, is that it is important for you to have a mentor. It is important for you to have someone who has been through life, who can give you suggestions, who can say, hey, Jazz, you know what you're saying, it's like you said, it's right, but you might want to, you know, approach it this way. It's important for you to get with people who are older than you, younger than you, on the same level as you, so that you can get these same experiences and perspectives. And before you know it, while you think that you're putting yourself behind the line, you're actually propelling yourself forward, because now you're networking. Now the person that you didn't want in your life and that you didn't want to work with, that person knows someone who knows someone who knows someone that can get you to exactly where you want to be. And so it's important for you to open yourself up and say, you know what? I don't know it. Let me go ahead and ask for some help or suggestions. And so with that, bringing in the network side of it and mentors and things like that, for you, being successful as far as in the thing, she is an author, guys. So shout out to Simple Little Publishings. Go check out the children's book. She is a author, guys. Great books, I'm telling you, check them out. But being with that, how did you, in your expertise in your field that you're in, how did you learn how to network to be able to collaborate with people? How did you choose, hey, this is someone that I want to be with, you know, or where did you network? Where did that start?
So the saying that you never want to be the smartest person in the room is something that resonates with me personally. I don't just have one mentor, I have several. I find people that are doing or may know or are going somewhere that I want to go, and I listen. I learn from them. There's a reason why in businesses, in corporations, there are board of directors, right? There's an oversight. It's not just one person that's carrying the load of where this business is going. All successful businesses have some sort of advisory board in nonprofit or for-profit world. So why can we not apply that to our lives? Why can we not have mentors and people that will pray over us and talk to us and give us correction, which is something that for me would it make my chest burn. But in correction comes growth. Doesn't mean that they hate you, doesn't mean that they're trying to stop you from winning. They're trying to prevent you from self-destruction, right? And when I say have multiple mentors, I mean that. Like, there may be someone that is good at cooking, and that's what they do. That is their specialty. You can't cook. Get under that person and learn how to cook.
Right.
While you also find somebody that knows how to do business, right? Because those two skills that you're bringing to the table,
what you need. Pull what you need to.
You can navigate that way, and you're going to find different people, different walks of life, and you're going to elevate yourself in that. I am a hoarder of knowledge. I love learning. I love experiences. I love hearing different perspectives. That's why I love sociology. It's why I love psychology, because it is the study of people, the study of communities, the study of behaviors. And when you learn how to not just study other people's behaviors, but your own, you will be amazed on how much growth you will have. Like, we are in this thing together. We only have this time.
Yeah.
You know, we only have this earth. There are so many resources. So many things that you can learn.
Yeah.
And age has nothing to do with it. Financial status has nothing to do with it. Education has nothing to do with it. Lived experience absolutely has something to do with it. You know, book knowledge. You can get, oh my gosh, the things that you can just learn just from a book. You don't even have to know this person face to face, right? And so I think for me, it took a lot of courage for me to ask for help. Because, you know, hey, I'm a strong Black woman. What can I say?
Right.
I don't need no help. I was wrong. Everybody needs help. Nobody is a self-made person. Nobody. You need to network. You need to collaborate. You need to find people that have been where you're going, that are on their way to where you're going, and that you can pull behind you to get them where they're trying to go. That was a pivotal point for me, was to acknowledge that in my life.
Yeah. And I think that that's good. I think the first step to me, this whole podcast has been a journey for me as therapy to talk myself through things, because I was a very closed person. Networking was not on my radar. I might've had one person.
This is growth.
One person, you know, who I would actually like, oh, you know what, you might be right, you know, one. But through life, I have learned that networking starts with, like you said, opening yourself up. Open yourself up to trust that this person will have my best interests at heart. And that goes with discernment. That goes hand in hand with prayer. That goes hand in hand with just putting yourself out there. You know, if you see someone who, like you said, it's like, wow, you know, this person seems like they're very well-rounded. They have, you know, I don't see them. This is some trait in them is what I aspire to be or aspire to have. Connect yourself with that. You know, and like you said, don't be the smartest person in the room, because at that point you're not growing. You know, you don't want to stunt your growth. But
I'll say too, though, which shout out to statistics, LSU, you kicked my butt, but I did learn that you also have to have a margin of error in all that you do.
Right.
Do not put all of your faith and trust into one bucket. Please don't do that. We are the mentor that you have. They are human beings, and they will make mistakes. They will have errors. They are working through stuff their own selves. Take the good, leave the bad. It does not mean if somebody does something bad, doesn't mean that they're a bad person, right? Just means that they made a mistake, or they did something that was adverse to what your beliefs and your thoughts are.
Right.
And so I think making sure that you have grace in how you're navigating through this, so that you are not putting these people on these pedestals. A good example of that is, let's say you attend a church and the pastor has been a rock for you, that is still a man or a woman.
Mm-hmm.
That's still a human being. And it does not, if they make a mistake or they do something that is adverse or they do something that is hurtful, it does not mean that all of the knowledge that they've taught you, the foundation that they've built in you, is wrong or bad. It means that they made a bad choice. It means that they were doing bad actions. But the knowledge and things that they gave you is still something that you can find value in. And I think that's really important, because a lot of people, they will get let down by mentors,
Yeah.
let down by leaders, and they'll just throw away everything that they learned. That's not correct.
Yeah.
Take the good, leave the bad, and you can feel the difference between the two. Don't stunt your growth because of somebody else still on their journey. Right.
Yeah.
So I just want to put that in there.
No,
Margin
I
of error.
think that's good. No, that's good, because we place people on pedestals and then we become hurt, and then you get closed, and things like that. And so I just want to go into my last question, because we are approaching time. But the last thing is that are there any negative consequences to asking for help? We know that we've discussed competition and how competition has come into the world and how we have developed that type of side. And then we've also discussed collaboration and mentorship. But is there any negative to asking for help or trying to collaborate?
Absolutely. As with anything, there's always a risk.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a risk in everything you do. If you eat that burger and that ground beef ain't cooked all the way, there's a risk that you can get some sort of food poisoning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm saying it in a very trivial way, but yes, there's always a risk. It's just, does the risk outweigh the benefit?
Yeah.
Does the risk outweigh where you're trying to go? Like it's almost like investing in the stock market, right? There's gonna be volatility. There's gonna be ups, extreme highs, extreme lows. Are you in it for the short term? Are you in it for the long term?
Yeah.
What are you willing to lose?
Yeah.
That's something that's important to think about. What are you willing to lose in order to get where you're going? I am a serial entrepreneur. It's in my blood. It's the hustle is within me. Every business that was started did not succeed.
Mm-hmm.
But I was willing to take that risk because I know in the long haul, there are going to be some that will.
Yeah.
And there are some that have succeeded. So having that margin of error, and what are you willing to lose? I think there's always a risk in everything you do.
And I think that people need to be comfortable. And I think I talked about this before on a previous episode about, is entrepreneurship for everyone? But you have to be comfortable with no. You have to be comfortable with rejection. You have to be comfortable with, I've built myself up to get to this collaborative state. And I know I want to work with this person and I know this could be good. And then you ask and they say, no, you're not, I don't want to work with you. You have to be confident and comfortable enough to say, you know what? I appreciate your time. This maybe wasn't the right season for us to work together, and you move on. You have to be comfortable with the no factor of it all. And so I think that is also a growth moment. We know that when you grow a plant or a tree, you have to prune certain things. And maybe that no was to teach you that, hey, your idea, that might not be the door that God wants you to walk into. He might have a window on the side for you. And it goes back into what you said, don't put all your eggs in one basket, Right. And so I think that no is one of the major consequences of asking for help. People can't handle no, because when you hear no, it's like all your world just caves in. And I just knew that they were going to say yes. I just knew that this was going to work, and it doesn't. But that's okay. As long as you believe in your craft or in what you are putting into, you're putting your time into it, the right people will show up for you. And you have, through those experiences, you're able to be ready for that collaboration. Sometimes people aren't ready to collaborate. You think you're ready, but you're not ready to collaborate. So I think that's major. It's just, it's so much, to discuss in that. But man, I just feel like this was just like full packed of gems, like just dropping gems left and right. But yeah. So before we close, I just want to give you an opportunity to say anything, any last encouraging words or any last thoughts before we close this out.
I've enjoyed my time. I've enjoyed the questions. I think, I think the biggest takeaway that I hope that you will get is to not live in extremes. Mm-hmm. Don't live on the polars. There's a reason why society is closer to the equator than it is the poles, right?
Yeah.
Keep your options open. Be okay with no. Sometimes no means not right now.
Yeah.
Maybe the person that's telling you no has a reason why they're not ready. And so when that time, if the timing works, if the finances work, if all the things align, no can mean not right now, right? That's how you start with not, right? No. So I just hope that you give yourself grace, you give others grace, and you give the process grace, because it's gonna take some L's to get to your W.
Yeah.
That's all.
Thankfully, I think that that's great. And my final thought would just have to be, think about Michael Jordan, think about Oprah Winfrey. These people did not start their careers. I know Oprah didn't until she was in her 40s. That process for her of the no, the no, the no. And this woman is now a billionaire. Michael Jordan didn't start playing. He was rejected from his middle school basketball team and then went on to be the greatest, if not the greatest basketball player in the world. It takes time. And so I just really want to encourage everyone to, just like you said, trust the process, make sure that you are staying in a collaborative state, knowing when to jump in, know when to jump out. And I just think that this has been so good. And so I just want to thank my sister for joining us today. This was just, this is just all good, all the feels on this. So I just want to thank her for joining us and stuff like that. Let us know in the comments what you think. If you have any questions, feel free to DM us. I will also post the information for the children's book in my bio. Please be sure to check out Simple Little Publishings. There's a website. What's the website for the books?
www.simplelittlepublishings.com.
Yes, and I believe you can also find the books on Amazon as well, under that title. So be sure, I'll link some of that stuff below. Let me know what you think. Hit me up. And I'm just so excited, guys. Thank you so much for listening. This was a great episode. Let us know what you think. Like, share, subscribe, and we will talk to you soon.
See you later.